Good morning. Hand today is going to be Queen 8 off. We are early position. We fold. No big deal. Small blind checks or limps. Big blind checks behind. So this is blind versus blind situation. Let's see what we can do. We only have 48 hands on this player. We have very little notes whatsoever. So we're basically flying blind. So the question is, what do we think he's going to be playing? Well, from a 1911, I do think he would be raising some of his better hands. I think in this spot, he's probably raising like nines plus. He's probably raising all the suited aces. You know, this good Broadway, probably like ace jack. I think ace 10 is probably just going to be a call here. Instead of a raise. It's questionable. Would he call? Or would he raise with his ace x hands or not? I think ace 10's at least going to see a flop. So I think we're gonna set up a call for him. I think some of these suited kings, suited queens, those are all probably just going to be limping, and so forth. Low pocket pairs. The other guy checks behind. He is 17-13. We've got quite a few hands on him. Unfortunately, when we look at the blinds, especially the big blind, he's played 5 out of 21. Pre-flop raise is 0 out of 21. Called is 5 out of 18. So he's only just called from the big blind. This is going to be the first time he's just checked behind. It seems like, though, based on his stats, I would expect him to raise if he has a decent hand. So I kind of said 11%. I think that's a minimum of a raise, a raise that he would make. I'm not sure if he would raise wider than this. It's just kind of an unknown because you don't see players get into the situation a lot. But, I think at least 7+ he's probably going to be raising. So we're going to go with it. So we've got two ranges. We basically had no raise before the flop, and we see a flop. So the flop doesn't look too bad. 2 diamonds, we've got a heart. You've got a straight possibility, flush draw. I think that straight possibility 8-9 could be hitting some of these players potentially. I took them out. I mean, this player might have them as a limp. Kind of think 8-9 might have been a raise for villain 4. It's one of those, if we see him betting and his betting pattern suggests maybe he has the 8-9, then we could revise our range a little bit. But for now, I kind of think 8-9 is going to be raising. So villain 3 checks. Is there any time that he would check? I kind of expect a straight to bet here. I guess there's a chance that he would check raise it. So maybe a third of the time we can scale that and say he would have check raised that. Sets, I think, would have let out. 2 pair, I think, would have let out. I think our top pair probably would have let out. I think everything else is probably just going to be the limp or the check. So we're going to go with that. And then villain 4 checks behind. And now once villain 4 checks behind, I don't think he's ever checking these. I think with his aggression, he's going to be betting. I actually think he's probably going to be betting his flush draw as well. You can see C-bet is actually fairly high, 80, 100%, and then kind of relaxes on the turn. So when he checks behind, I'm thinking probably these weaker middle bottom pair, no made hands even. With that bet, I do kind of expect middle and bottom pair to bet, to take a stab at it, see what's going to happen. I'm not thrilled with that because they're all middle cards and they're all connected. I think we're going to get called more times than we think. So let's take him out, middle and bottom pair. Actually, no, we'll leave him in. Middle and bottom pair, probably. We'll say he's a little concerned, so he just checks it. He's concerned with his kicker. So let's do that. Let's take out the A7, King 7. We'll take out 7, 8, 9, 7 because I think he could be betting those. All right, and we'll do the same thing with bottom pair. We'll take out the A6, King 6. We'll take out the 8, 6, and 9, 6. We'll leave the rest. And the question is, would he bet a flush draw? And definitely at a minimum, he would be betting those nut flush draws. So we'll take those out. We'll take the ace high and the king high flush out. Yeah, we already have the a6, king 6. Okay, so 75%. He's got a lot of hands that just completely miss because he's got basically most of the range of cards. All right, jack of clubs comes out. Villain 3 checks. I think at this point, if he was going to bet the straight, he would have bet it. You know, he would have gone for a check raise, missed it, and then just went ahead and bet. I think jack now probably bets would lead here, so I'm going to exclude that. I think, again, it's just he's going to have a very weak hand. Villain 4 checks behind, and that just, to me, again, suggests a very weak hand at this point. I think this guy would have bet his flush draws. Possibly would have bet those open enders. So we advance then to the 3 hearts, and they both check again. This guy, again, I am putting him on that. And this guy definitely, since he goes check, 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 something just like that. All right. So we're going to see the hands, and when we can talk without even seeing the hands, we can see we've got some issues here. Number one, aggression. I think this is a hand that once a flop goes check, check, I think the first person who bets is going to win this board. You bet flop. If this 3 comes out, you bet the turn, or you bet the river. So you bet the turn, then on a good turn, you bet the river. It's going to be hard for people to call. If they call the turn, most likely it's going to be on a draw. It's going to be a diamond draw. It's going to be on like a straight draw. You're kind of representing with that bet that you have at least a pair, and possibly you've connected with that jack. So even if you had like a 10-2, or let's say a 10-8, 10-9, it's going to be hard for them to call because you're representing the jack. And I think with all of the hands that at least this guy has, you could easily represent that jack. You've got, you know, massive number of jack combos. You've got big combos. I'm going to say it's smaller number of combos relative to his entire range, but, you know, he's got a lot more jack combos than this guy does. So I think you need to bet. The other thing we should consider is his stack size. So he's got, you know, basically 10 big blinds. He started the stack short. This is one where I think if he has any sort of draw or connects with the board in any single way, I think he needs to take advantage of it. I think he needs to push and kind of represent, hey, we're going to push you in. We're going to get your 10 big blinds. At this point, even if you can't slow play because it's going to be hard just to get to 10 big blinds to get that stack in on the river. You could bet 2, and then you could bet the rest on the next street. So on the flop, once he checks, I think he should be checking. He should be taking the initiative. It hurts that he doesn't have, that he's got this massive range and a lot of weak cards, but you could bet here. And if he calls, then you can kind of back off. You could back off, or that jack's actually decent. I mean, he doesn't know what you have, or he doesn't know what you have. It's kind of the downside of playing those short stack is you don't really have a whole lot of room to play, to actually play poker. if he wants to see the showdown, he's basically going to be committed for those 10 bets. So let's see what we have. So he shows ace king, which is just crazy. He limps with it, and he shows 3-5. So the 3-5 is gonna take it. This is crazy. And we're gonna take a note because we did not, we assumed, I think most reasonable players would bet for, first in. So I want to say limped. Yeah, we could say LFI in small blind with ace of diamonds, king of hearts. He is out of position, BvB. Check, check, check. On 10 of diamonds, 7 diamonds, 6 of hearts, jack of clubs, 3 of hearts. And we'll just say 10 big blind stack. All right. BvB. Check. Check. With 5 hearts, 3 spades. In position, check, check, check. All right, I'm going to change this BV and say BvB up here. I like that so we could see. I like that. All right, so I don't know if you've been in this situation. I don't know if you've played people. You're going to hear people complain about ace king. Ace king never wins. And they'll use this hand as an example of why it doesn't win. Because they were way ahead. I mean, ace king versus 5-3. They're ahead the whole way. 3-5 needs the catch. Needs the catch to win. And yet, the ace king, this player gave him unlimited odds to draw to it. So it's not really ace king is a bad hand to play. It's this player didn't really play it well. He raises pre-flop, he's going to fold. And if he doesn't fold, you have an opportunity to bet here. You've got the ace of diamonds. You bet, chance that he has diamonds go down, and you could easily represent the flush, the nut flush, because we know he's not going to have it. So, ace king missed it. He missed his opportunity and he lost. And quite frankly, you'll see some people talk about how bad their luck is with ace king, and they just kind of brought it upon themselves. What about 3-5? Oh, crappy hand, real crappy hand. But I mean, he got to see the flop for free, and he ended up winning with it. So, give him credit. Give him credit. So that's it. We're going to wrap it up here, get this sent off. I actually did review hands on a weekend. So if you enjoy this hand, look tomorrow. We'll post another.